Hello.
Sure?
I don't know. Was he called a woman? The gym guy.
Oh, it might be Cheryl. All right.
You ain't gonna put nothing in them legs, motherfucker. Right.
Good way to start off.
Hi, welcome to the Bencher Movie Club. I'm Charlie.
My name's Ben.
And in this episode, we're talking about Demons 2 from 1986. Original title, Demoni tu l'incuba ritorna. Because it's an Italian film.
Yeah.
You know that, don't you? It's an Italian horror. Directed by Lamberto Bava, who directed the original Demons, as well as Body Puzzle and Devouring Waves. Written by the legendary Dario Argento, who also produced the first Demons.
Why are they legendary?
Well, I'm going to tell you why it's legendary.
Okay. Cool.
Whose credits include Once Upon a Time in the West. People are going to switch off now and go, well, he knows nothing about films.
No, go on.
It's a classic Western.
Oh, is it? I don't
it's
watch
an all-time.
do I?
Yeah, okay. Cemetery Without Crosses, Suspiria, and Phenomena. It was also written by Franco Ferrini, who wrote Once Upon a Time in America.
Oh, okay.
You know that one?
Yeah.
Well, he was a writer on Once Upon a Time in America, actually, loads of contributions. And also Dardano Sacchetti has a writer's credit. He done House by the Cemetery, Manhunt in the City. Yeah. So they're the people who made the film.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them were involved in the first one.
Yeah, you can see it's dubbed, obviously, because it is Italian.
Yes, it's Italian. But
it looks very American. I mean, the acting is very American as well, like 80s horror American. It seems it comes across.
Well, that's
like
the target audience, isn't it?
Yeah. And they look quite American-y, some of them.
Yeah, I think if you was watching it with the sound off, you'd think, it's only then when you put the sound on, you think, actually, the sound is...
Not saying all Italians go have like dark hair and sort of brown eyes and all that kind of olive skin, but they just look more American-y than Italian, I would have thought. I don't know.
Well, the lead guy, I thought, when I was looking at it, I thought, he looks like a model. He looks like his perfect cut hair and everything, and the glasses.
Yeah.
You know, you think maybe they just
went for all attractive youngsters.
Because he only actually shot this in one other film. A film called Who Shot Pat?
Okay, what about Pat Butcher?
Yeah,
I thought that, yeah.
And then they said, well, no one shot her. And they went, oh, and that was it. But Who Shot Pat was an early Sandra Bullock film. I think late 80s. Okay. Yeah, but I don't think...
That was before she was famous, because 90s
she became famous, it was Speed
really made her famous,
yeah.
I remember that. She had a bob haircut. She looked really nice in that, actually.
But yeah, that's David Edwin Knight, who plays George. And you got Nancy Briley, who plays Hannah. She's in Men vs. Women, Women vs. Men, Two Girls versus a Cup. No, she's not in that. Right. In 1994, she discovered she suffered from endometriosis.
I've heard of that.
And she underwent the removal of an ovarian cancer. Yeah.
What's endometriosis again?
I guess it's a cancer.
It is a cancer.
Yeah. You got Sally.
Yes.
Who's
the main character.
She's
like the lead demon, really.
Yeah.
She's the scariest looking one out of all of them.
Isn't it?
Yeah. They're all supposed to be 16.
Yeah.
They're all like blatantly 27.
How old do you think she is then?
What, in the film?
Yeah, how old do you think she is?
Like 25, 26.
Do you know how old she is?
Yeah.
Okay. So she is played by Coralina Cataldi Tassoni. She also in Via Paradiso and a film called Opera. She grew up with an operatic family.
Okay.
She had only just turned 15.
What, in the film?
Yeah. She was like three months away from 14. She was 14, 3 months later they were shooting that film. So all that heavy makeup, like when she's a demon.
You know what it is? I think it's 80s haircuts, 80s styles.
So probably all those people there were probably all like teenagers, 15, 16-year-olds. It's only...
You know, you look at all these teen films and they looking back, you go, oh yeah, they're fucking about 25, 26.
Yeah, I thought that would surprise her because it surprised me.
I didn't think she was
15,
old. I thought about 25.
2 years younger than Lily.
Oh God.
It's crazy.
See, it's
80s, why hasn't Lily done a film yet?
80s wasn't good for fashion, really, was it? For like making you look young, anyway.
But you know her boyfriend you're talking about, that Jacob?
Yeah.
Yeah. he was 26 in real life.
Right.
So I'm glad you don't actually see them get together.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit of a nonsensical bit. It didn't matter.
The same as the parents.
Yeah, there's a couple of bits which just don't matter in this film. There's the bits of the parents walking about a market.
I wonder if Sally's having a nice time.
Yeah.
And then she's going, "Rah!"
And then you got the little boy whose mum and dad's gone out.
Yeah.
They've phoned up saying, "Oh, I'm worried." So they're driving back fast. And then you got the punks in the other car. Go faster! Yeah. She's scared.
There's a couple of bits it's not needed.
And you think, what's that got to do with zombies?
Yeah. I like this film because.
Sorry. Technically, demons. Some people go, "Oh, it's not zombies; they're demons." It is zombies, isn't it?
But they're demons is different to zombies, isn't it?
Yeah, but what's the difference between this and a zombie? Because they scratch people, and then what happens if a zombie scratches you? You turn into a zombie. If a demon scratches you,
I don't know.
I always see.
I'm sure there is a difference though, so I'm not going to say that there isn't because I'm sure there is. Demons and zombies are different things, I expect. But anyway, with this film, I like it because it's a typical 80s horror film. It's like you don't take it too seriously, but I also think the special effects are really good. And actually, I remember when I watched this. Now, this was like 1986, so I was 12 when this came out, and I probably would have watched it round about that time. And I remember I was shit scared of. I thought it was really scary because of the makeup was so sort of like so good for that age, and that's what I liked about that era because it was all prosthetics. You know, it wasn't CGI and all that.
Effects,
I love all that practical effects.
I mean, there's some bits you go, well, you can see that's painted, that's this.
The bit with her face, first of all, you don't need to see the full face. You know when her teeth are coming out. But if you just had the bit with her teeth coming out, then that would look great because it's like, because that doesn't notice. It's just, I think with a full face mask, you can always tell, like with the eyes, there's something that don't look right.
You know what effect I thought was really impressive?
Go on.
It's the bit with the vein. The
veins,
vein pumping. Because
veins.
when I see it on the demon, so there's, we should say quickly what the plot is, but let me just say, when you see it on the demon earlier in the film, I thought, oh, okay, that's obviously got to be a fake arm, that's how they make it. But then you see it, I think, on
she's
arm.
She's pushing down.
Sally's arm,
just flashes light the candles.
Pumping, and you think, wow, that's really good how they do that.
In 1986 as well, you've got to think it's nearly 40 years ago.
Yeah,
but they was really hot on lots of stuff back then, don't you think? I mean, like American Wealth in London, look how that was the best of all time.
Well, that was at the time. There was so many people doing it, so many people doing practical effects that it was a competitive industry, and that makes it all good. Whereas nowadays, you'd be hard pressed to find someone to do something.
And that's a real art to do that. I mean, I think maybe after American Wealth in London, maybe films like this looked and went, right, we've got to try this, and made people's imaginations go a bit more and tried for really good effects.
Yeah.
But the effects in this, I think, are really good.
This is obviously a sequel to the original Demons, which I also really enjoyed.
Yeah,
I think part 2 is better, but part 1 is really good anyway. Some people prefer part 1. I think it's got a higher rating as well. But that was basically a bunch of people were in a cinema, and then it's practically the same thing.
I think she gets scratched by a mask. She puts a mask on and scratches. But that's I love the idea of that, all trapped in the cinema.
That's a brilliant one. But this one I think is better because it gives you so many different things to go to. Yeah. But this is the synopsis. Time has passed, but the demons have waited. Through TV sets in a high-rise apartment block, they re-enter the real world, turning Sally Day's 16th birthday party into an event of unspeakable horror. So she was even, she's younger than that, of course, as we said. Guests watch aghast as Sally's hands twist into claws, her teeth become fangs, her veins bulge and pulse, and her eyes turn demonic yellow. Black corrosive blood seeps from her body, spreading the demon plague throughout the building, infecting all those it touches. There's a bit more on there, but I won't bother saying it. So then it's not Shakespeare, but it's literally just like I'm going to keep referring it to a zombie film because I think it is. Because zombie films change their rules depending on what film you've got. Some films they run, some films they walk and stuff like that. I see it as practically all but name a zombie film.
Okay.
And that's where I'd put it. If someone said, I want to watch a really good zombie film, you'd say to them, watch Demons 2. That's a good one. They won't go,
I've always liked Demons. I do remember hiring it on VHS. That's what I remember. When you used to go and hire films out.
That's a great cover as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
The cover for that with Sally standing in the doorway, which is an iconic shot in the film, but obviously that isn't the actual shot. They've recreated it.
Yeah, but they've actually cut a bit out of that because usually you see more of the cake.
Yeah,
the cake is there, like with the light, with the candles.
You'll have to put it up on the screen.
Yeah, so I remember hiring this out. I don't know why they used to let me hire horror films out when I was 12, but it was the 80s, I suppose. So it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I remember hiring it out. And watching it because I had a little telly in my bedroom, didn't I? And I remember watching it out, and I was actually had my friends around. We was all watching it, and everyone was shit scared. And it was really scary because I suppose we're desensitised now. I mean, the youth of today would probably look and go, "Is that it?"
No, I don't think so. I'll tell you why. Because I desensitised Lily. I was always desensitised from horror films, and I showed her quite a lot of horror films prior to her seeing this, and she was probably about 12 when she saw Demons 2. Maybe she was a bit younger, but she'd seen Exorcist and American Werewolf in London, Nightmare on Elm Street. She'd seen these films, and she wasn't scared. You know, I taught her earlier on, look, it's fun to be scared. So she'd jump and get scared, but she'd laugh afterwards. Go, oh, it's nice that she enjoyed getting scared. This is the first time I ever showed her a film, and she asked me to turn it off.
Really?
Yeah, she was so scared. She went, Dad, turn it off, please. She was I went, Lily, it's Demons 2. And she went, no, I did. And you know what part it was?
What?
When they all look up with their eyes at the bottom of the stairs. And you see...
Yeah, the light bulb eyes.
Yeah.
That's like in The Fog. I think that's the scary thing about The Fog. When you see
that... from the heart.
Same thing, eyes. When a little light bulb eyes. Yeah, that's a scary look.
It's a fantastic shot where it's sort of like the camera just pans over and you can see it there. Yeah. They do it once before where the demon's looking over and coming down the stairs.
No, it's good.
But the bit when they're in the centre and they'll just simultaneously throw their head up and look up. Because you imagine...
Why have they done that? Do you reckon they had like little mirrors stuck on the outside of their eyelids?
I think, yeah, possibly. They could have had like little reflective things. Yeah. And they had
cat's eyes. You know the cat's eyes in the road?
Yeah, and they would have just had a light shining on them so that when they look in a certain direction, their eyes would light up.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, that's how I imagine. I don't know for definite. Yeah. You know, if you know, correct us.
Yeah.
Back to the cast. It's also got Bobby Rhodes, who's one of the only ones to return from Demons 1.
Is he the keep fit guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, pump those legs. Yeah. He's one of my favourite characters in it because I like
it's a bit comedy like that part. It turns to a bit like action sort of.
Well, that's probably why I like that part because I know you.
I always thought there was a couple of stories that could have been cut, which is the woman and the dog. I always felt that could have been cut. I didn't
mind that. That was okay. You know, I think if you just cut out the parents outside and the car crash bit, the film would be a lot quicker, and I don't think you'd mind them scenes as much. You'd just go, oh.
I think you'd be able to do a really good remake, but then again, they ruin remakes.
No, I wouldn't remake it because they'd make it like properly. What I like about this is sort of like, I like the dubbing. I like the bad acting.
The typical 80s, yeah.
I like it.
I know, it's fun.
That's so it's like, phone rings. No, Daddy isn't home. I'm all alone.
Yeah.
Mummy's not here either. Okay, bye.
It's like the bit out of American Werewolf in London.
I know, but that's done purposely, isn't it? This is just like, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And that boy, you know, well done to him to sort of have all that makeup stuck in him afterwards.
But it was actually, you could tell as well, it was actually an adult wolf who played the little boy, Once he had the makeup on.
Really?
You can see by his the way he holds himself and the way he's running around. He's a lot more than not a child. He's more, no.
You know that 100%?
Yeah.
What's that's his name?
I don't know, but the little boy was played by an adult wolf when he had his full makeup. Oh. I could tell when he was running around. You could tell he wasn't. He's moving a lot quicker than a child would. Do you know what I mean? His mannerisms, his body language, is the way he's moving is a lot more than a child.
Yeah. But that Bobby Rhodes, he plays like the gym guy who sort of helps them take charge at the bottom. And you sort of, me personally, when I watch that, I'm like, oh God, yeah, what would I do? Yeah, try and block the door, try and do this. I feel as if like I'd be more in his thing, trying to tell people what to do. But in the end, it's all in vain because every single one of them in the basement gets killed anyway. You know,
and that's scary, that bit with the car when they're all looking through the window going, wow, that's like, that's the money shot.
That's like,
girl. Yeah. That's like a Michael Jackson's Thriller type of thing, isn't it? You know, like all the zombies.
Well, that little girl is Dario Argento. So it's the writer's daughter.
Okay.
And she was only 10 at the time. She's actually gone on to be in films like Marie Antoinette, Land of the Dead, and Triple X. So she's actually been in like quite a few American films as well. But this is obviously one of her earlier ones. That Bobby Rhodes actually now lives in the UK as well.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. He was in the first Demons. He played Tony. He was sort of like a pimp in the first one.
That's right, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You've also got, that Ashley Hay, she played Ingrid. So
which one was Ingrid? She a mate with the blue
I'm saying
dress?
the little girl.
Oh, the little
that was
girl.
Ingrid, yeah. You've also got, right, the reason I mentioned this one, the prostitute, Mary the prostitute, is played by Virginia Bryant. We know her, Bryant, don't we?
No, sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Was that her?
No. Well, she was also in a film called The Ogre, which they renamed Demons 3. Because they tried. No, that wasn't it.
Oh.
This was something else, which they tried to. It was another Italian film called The Ogre, which outside of Italy they called it Demons 3, The Ogre, because they was trying to capitalise on Demons 1 and 2.
Right.
But she was actually, she's in that, and she plays a character called Cheryl.
Cheryl Bryant.
Yeah, so that's funny, isn't it?
So is her sister-in-law.
I mean, it's not funny to anyone else, but it's our sister-in-law's name. And that's pretty much all the cast that I felt like talking about, because most of them, like, we wouldn't know.
No,
because
I know them as zombies. There's the girl with the beads. There's that's good when you've got like the costumes and they've all got their sort of set clothes that you go, I know you as a demon. I remember you with the beads, and I remember you with the blue dress, and I remember
they stand out.
Yeah, you
like,
know, like,
when you see Sally.
Sally, she's really scary looking as a demon. I think.
You know what I noticed about her though, because if you notice, before she gets to turn, she's sort of very, like, almost like bipolar. Like, has she sort of really happy, and then she goes, "What's he doing coming in?" And she goes in her room, stops, wants to watch telly, and
she's very, very much like that.
But then when she turns into a demon, she's still moaning, because she's got a very unique moan.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, she'll be doing, like, they'll be killing everyone in the basement, all of a sudden she'll stop and go, run off. And everyone starts running after her, as if like, what's wrong
Sally,
with
it's your party.
Sally. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good film though.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, it's typical. I mean, look, to see this film, you've got to expect, it's like typical 80s horror. And people love that. You know, if you love 80s horror and the cheesiness of it and that feel, then this is perfect film for you.
And it's got loads of like satisfying moments, like bits where, I mean, there's bits where you think, it's fantastic little set pieces. There's great little environments. So you got like the bit with the girl in the sunbed. And then you got someone in the sauna. It's only like a 2-shot scene, but it's funny to see like a demon come out rather than scratch her, just like pancake her in the thing. Then of course you got them stuck in the lift.
Yeah,
and that man trying to pull him out. Then his face gets scratched, and you think, "Oh God, what's going to happen there?"
And then
climbing
she's
up the lift,
and she gets knocked down.
Oh yeah, I love the way that's a satisfying bit where he boots her in the face, and you think, "Yeah, I'd boot her." Yes, but then the lift starts coming up.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's one of the other bits which I actually laughed out loud earlier about, because I hadn't watched it for years.
I haven't actually, until the other day.
The little boy is obviously attacking his pregnant wife and turns into like a tiny little demon thing.
Yeah.
All right. Which again, I think they're trying to capitalise on things like Gremlins at that point.
Critters and all that.
Yeah, because this coming out in '86, you got to think it was about 2 years after Gremlins.
And they were big successful films.
Yeah, so they're sort of chucking that in there. But how he kills that when he stabs an umbrella through the back of his head.
Which is very Gremlins type way, isn't it?
Yeah, and pushing its skull through the thing. I was thinking that's quite satisfying. This little shitty thing. I think that's definitely killed it. It's not coming back from that.
Yeah, Lino Salemi also reappears this time as a security guard. He was also in Demons as well.
Oh right, so he's the security guard who's trying to get him out the lift.
Yeah.
You know what? It's because I haven't seen Demons 1 for so long as well. Yeah, he's in that. God, yeah. So there's more
him, and obviously and there's Tony the Pimp.
So I like how at the beginning of the film, you know, when they're going, because I've said before how I like films set over one night, and how the very opening of this film when they're first going into the building and you've got this glass 80s building and it's shot at the magic hour, you know, when the sun goes down. So filmmakers will often pick, we're going to shoot at sunset, because if you get a good sunset, it can look beautiful. And that beautiful skyline and like the reflection off the building as they're all going in there, going to the party and stuff. Yeah. You know, I just think it looks really, some of it looks really good. And I think, who would you be, if you had to pick a character out of that whole film, who would you be?
Or the bloke that survives.
Like the one who has to go through all that ordeal,
With
fighting
the
zombies.
prostitute and all that.
I'd be the guy with glasses. The one in the party who answers the phone. Because he answers the phone and they say, right, go outside and wait. So he keeps cutting to him and he's sitting outside not knowing what's going on. I thought, he's such a lucky bastard.
And he stays outside the whole time?
He stays outside. Because then there's the car crash and he comes over and goes, you all right?
Yeah.
He's going, no, the party's in there. Nothing happens after the car crash. You never see him again. But obviously he's totally fine. He's probably find out the next day, you know, all those kids, all your mates died.
Yeah.
God, I'm so lucky. I answered that phone and said, what's his name to come round?
PTSD, is it?
Yeah.
The resurrection of the first demon was done by filming a melting wax head and then filming it in reverse.
Yeah, see, again, that looked quite good. Had like because that's the one. Because I'm not
the
quite
first
sure.
one that was laying down in the film when she's watching the film.
Is that supposed to be a documentary or a film?
I
Because
don't know. They're all watching it though.
You're supposed to acknowledge this is a sequel to Demons 1.
Yeah.
And it's spoken as if it's like a documentary because the things that happened in that cinema.
But then it's also not like a documentary because it's filmed like a film.
I know, you've got a camera from this angle, that angle and stuff. You think, well, if they'd shot that like Blair Witch Project kind of thing, then that would have made sense that it's like a documentary thing. But I think they didn't think that through. They just probably thought, look, we've got to do this other film that she's watching.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters that much. But again, it adds to sort of the cheesiness of it.
Yeah, it's 80s, isn't it? 80s. You get away with anything in the 80s. Yeah, the first demon popping out of the television was done by an actor wearing a mask and pushing his head against the latex screen.
It reminded me very much like Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, like when he's pushing through the wall, sort of thing.
Yeah. So that was all round about the same sort of time as well.
But again, it looks great even today because it's not CGI.
Yeah, and also it wasn't done that often. It wasn't that people didn't do stuff like that then.
No,
this 80s horror was when people started sort of trying things out for the first time and seeing how things work. You know, so. Yeah, that's what I like about it. I love all the 80s. I suppose maybe growing up in the 80s as well, though. That's why it was.
I felt that was very like a Cronenberg type film.
Yeah.
You know, that he always had like things like sort of
you know,
pushing out of stuff.
And although not a fan of horror, actress Nancy Briley, who played Hannah, agreed to do act in the movie because she wanted to work with special effects. Now I suppose this is fantastic special effects.
She had done put on her.
No, but
apart from her belly.
Yeah, but she wanted to obviously work in like sort of see how it's all done, maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I love doing like when you do special effects. I like seeing the results. You think, wow, doesn't it look good? Or my throat looks cut and stuff like that. You know. The script for the first film took several months to develop. So for Demons 1, Demons 2 began shooting on May 19th, 1986, just 7 months after the release of the first film. So when the first film was successful, they thought, right, we've got to do a sequel.
Okay.
And it was Demons, so the first Demons from 1985 made 1.225 million Italian lira. It was released in October 1985, and it actually made in Italy more than Cat's Eye, Silver Bullet, and A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's
maybe
obviously
because it's an Italian film. So they're sort of behind it, and also it ain't dubbed for them because it would be in Italian.
Yeah.
So maybe the acting's better.
I don't know. But of course, like with the first two, which I enjoy them both thoroughly. You know, I think they're fantastic. There was a lot of demand for a third one. You know, so
it's gone. It's bit too long gone now. Isn't
well, there
it, really?
sort of have been third ones. As I mentioned before, there was the Ogre, which they tried to peddle as Demons.
It would be nothing like these two though, because these two are so close together, and they're both 80s. It's a different feel now to films.
There are connections because the Ogre, which came out in '88, was the same director. Lamberto Bava. So they could have sort of, well, it's the same director. You know, it is his film. It's sort of like that kind of thing. There was also there was a Demons 3 from 1991, which was peddled as a sequel, but has nothing to do with the franchise, with pretty much no one from either film involved. Okay. So I think that can't really be it. But the one that was closest to it, there was like a third film was conceived. So in an interview conducted on January 22nd, 88, directors Bava and Argento were discussing a follow-up to Demons 2, stating that they were working on a follow-up film, with Argento stating it would not be called Demons 3, but potentially Ritorna alla Casa dei Demoni. which roughly translates as Return to the House of the Demons. The third Demons film had a story developed by Franco Ferrini and Dardando Sacchetti, which involved an airplane that had to make an emergency landing where it finds itself on an island with a volcano stranding the passengers. Sacchetti explained that the situation was for them to arrive in a weird hell and compared the film to Alien, but with the isolated place being an airplane opposed to a spaceship and the demons replacing the aliens. So you can imagine Aliens being a fantastic film and a big success. They thought we should do something like that. After developing several drafts, the writers abandoned the story, with Sacchetti stating that they had trouble creating a story set in an isolated area of the airplane. The screenwriters eventually developed a new screenplay set in a church, which acted as a passage into hell, which was developed into the film The Church, which was what I sent you a clip of.
Okay,
No, the one you could tell it's very similar. That was directed by Michel Soavi, who wanted to distance it from the previous two films. It was actually going to be Demons 3.
Oh, okay.
So that one, I've actually watched quite a lot of it. That one is sort of like, it starts off like almost like a prequel. It's set hundreds of years ago. You've got all these knights going into this village. They go into this little cave, which is meant to be like, people said it like witchcraft. These like women going, "You're not going to hurt us," and these knights just start butchering them, chopping their heads off. They even kill a duck in it. But it's the way it's done, and with the music blaring, it's supposed to be like, oh my god, look how horrific it is. It just made me think of Monty Python and Holy Grail, when Lancelot's killing all these people at a wedding. And I thought, really? But I actually quite enjoyed the opening bit. However, the director, who sounds a bit snobby, he was like, I don't want to be anything connected to these films. Then why are you making part 3? So he wanted to distance it as much as possible. So he didn't really do like much demons in it, and it turns into a bit like Rosemary's Baby. Eventually they're stuck in a church, which I think could have been quite a good setting. All stuck in a church.
That's what I like about that film, The Fog. The very last scene of The Fog is really scary.
Yeah, see, if they're all stuck in a church, so you got the first one be cinema, building, church, I thought that would have been a nice way to round it off as a third film. But you know, as it turns out, that is the most poorly received one of the 3 films. It's got the lowest rating.
I've never even heard of it. So the scene where Hannah has her baby was not part of the original script. Originally, the baby becomes a demon and claws its way out. The scene was taken out because they wanted a happier ending.
Oh god, yeah, that would have been a bit. I mean, I think the bit
that would have been more realistic. That would have been more in keeping with the rest of the film.
Yeah, that would have made it realistic. Yeah, having demons climbing out of people. See, I thought the most traumatic thing, I thought that poor girl sees her mum turn into a demon. No, the 10-year-old girl sees her mum get turned into a demon. And then sees her dad get ripped apart.
And then she's got them all looking at her. But you know they've got her. And of course they're going to get her.
That's it. It's so, what a horrible sort of experience for anyone, let alone a little girl who a couple of hours earlier had like a lovely little life with her parents in this thing. That's probably why it traumatised her. And when all the zombies are coming in there and he's got the gun and then people, you see this one bloke, he's got a spanner and he's going...
It's 80s.
You think, I wonder what direction they got. Just wave the spanner as if you're going to throw it, but don't throw it because you've only got one shot with it. And it's a bit of a fire hazard as well, that building, because you think there's no fire escape. There's literally no way to get out of the building.
Oh, actually, they were trapped down in the basement.
The electrics went off and they went, we can't get out. It's all bulletproof. Why has it got to be bulletproof?
They probably learned from that mistake. That probably started a lot of...
that was the Italian equivalent of the King's Cross fire, I guess.
Exactly it,
Yeah, I love all the different set pieces. So obviously you've got the party, where that's got all the stuff that's going on there, building up to the thing.
Scary when you see her walk out and they're going, Sally, and there's the birthday cake, and they're going, singing happy birthday, and that's quite...
Yeah, it's a great little sort of environment. That on its own, that could make a great little short film. Then you've got like the gym with all the like, little sort of gym. Well, you got to think at the time in the 80s, Keep Fit was such a huge thing.
It's when it first sort of started
like
coming
Jane
out. Really.
Fonda and all stuff like that.
First sort of started bursting into things. People started doing it for the first time.
Yeah, so it makes sense that there'd be that many people in the building like doing that, and then shown, despite all their big muscles, the demon comes in and crushes that bloke. It's like, oh! Then of course the bit in the garage which you think they've got cars as weapons, ramming the zombies, trying to.
But they're so fast, and they're just diving over the cars and attacking people, and all you need is a scratch, and then you're done.
Then you got the lift, of course, all the stuff that goes on in the lift, the stairs, the sauna, the bit with the boy climbing in the air vent, which is scary because you think, get in the bloody air vent, and then he hides around the corner, and again, it's all in vain because a bit of blood drops on him, and that's it. He's done for. Then there's the dog bit, which I didn't mind the dog bit. I think it looks a bit silly when you see the dog happily walking towards it with a little demon thing.
They could have filmed it better. It was just like the bits with the actual dog.
Yeah.
You could see the dog was just going, right, come here, boy, come on.
Yeah.
Like it was just running towards its own.
Happy. Yeah. And then of course you've got the kid who turns into a little devil thing and stuff. Yeah. So there's so many fantastic. You don't get bored. You can't get bored of this film because
it's a good film. It's 80s horror, which most 80s horror is good. So.
And I like
it's good for being bad as well. A lot of it.
I like that the woman got killed by her dog, because I thought she's a bit inconsiderate neighbour anyway. Because she's like,
she goes, let the dog out.
Yeah.
She goes, oh, I forgot to let you out. Well, she let him out just to piss in the halls somewhere.
Pissing shit out people's doorsteps. They come out and go, can you stop pissing and shitting everywhere?
Yeah.
You know, take it out for a walk.
I thought obviously the dog ain't gone out. The dog has just wandered round the apartment building, so it's going to shit on the stairs or outside someone's door.
And like you said, it was such an 80s. Yeah. I mean, that party I was watching, I thought, you couldn't recreate that to look at as 80s as that. No. All their little suits, the men in the suits and the ties, and all their haircuts and their dancing. Even the food, the horrible, like, gelatinous sort of gloopy. Because I never look at that food and think, that looks nice. I look and go, ugh, that looks horrible. I'd go, oh, ain't you got something else? Should we get pizza?
Yeah.
Oh, another bit, which I thought was, I remember this was something that when I was younger, I thought, she seems a bit petty. So they've gone through all this ordeal. She's just given her birth to a baby, and her dad goes, oh, he's beautiful. He's not beautiful, he's gorgeous. Why'd you have to correct me? Like, it's that big of a difference.
Yeah, I've just saved your life.
Yeah. Although saying that, he saved her life, but he's got all the harness on. He goes, it's all right, just hold on, I know what I'm doing. You think, yeah, but she's just holding on. All she has to do is slip and she'll bloody fall down.
Yeah, and then you've got Sally above you.
Running down the way she runs down as well.
Yeah,
God.
Yeah.
And there's that other couple as well. You think, oh, they've saved another couple. And straight away he turns, and then the other woman turns, he chucks her off.
She's like her best mate, the one in the blue dress.
Actually, that is one of my most satisfying moments, when he kills him. When he pushes him on the stairs, boom, and he hits his head just as on like the bottom step with a crack.
And her hair is proper typical 80s.
Oh, yeah.
That big flick and the long bit at the back and all that, yeah.
I think if you was doing a film, if I was making a film that was set in the 80s, and the set designer and costume designer said, what we're going to do, we're going to research. I said, no, watch this party scene, because not a lot of people will know this film. That's what I want. Recreate that exactly. And people go, don't it look 80s? Right, so, as I've established, it is a zombie film. So...
Demon.
Well, I call it a zombie film, and those other people would consider it a zombie film. But there's the thing about running zombies, because obviously zombies traditionally, and those people say, oh well, in World War Z in 2013 they run, but of course earlier than that, you got 28 days later. Yeah. Those are people think, it's the first time zombies started running, and then they didn't know, because obviously in Demons 2 from 1985. You know, or from 1980, what was this? 86, they're running. Of course, the previous Demons, they're running, 85. Then you got Return of the Living Dead, which is April 85, they was running.
Yeah.
And the first time that Demons actually...
I think it's the earlier zombie films where they're like sort of slow, aren't they?
Well, Nightmare City, which again is an Italian zombie film, came out 11th of December 1980, and they're all running in that, and that's largely recognised as the first time they're running.
Okay.
However, if you go back further to Night of the Living Dead, which is like it's one of the ones that really popularised. It's not one of the earliest ones. One of the earliest ones, I think, is White Zombie from 32. Okay. But Night of the Living Dead is probably the most famous one. You know, they're coming to get you, Barbara. It's all black and white. Famously royalty free, so you can have clips of that, and we won't be taken down. That's from 1968, and if you look at the beginning, the zombie who attacks the guy in the cemetery and goes after it, he's actually moving quite fast. So I don't think when people say as if these can't be zombies because they run, well, they've been running for years. You know.
Right, on IMDb, it's got a 5.9 out of 10. which
I can understand.
I expect that.
You know, I wouldn't give it that. Because I get it. I don't expect everyone to get it.
Rotten Tomatoes, it got 67% by the critics and 44% by the audience. Now, I'd thought that would have been the other way around.
Yeah, I thought so. Because horror fans really love things, but then I suppose they also love things being bad.
Yeah.
You know, they sometimes go, oh, that was terrible.
But there is lots of bad bits in
fun.
this, which is like, as you say, like some of the dubbing and the acting and some of the scenes. It's just, it's like, what the fuck?
But as long as you're on board with that, if you say to someone, if someone's going to watch this film, I'd say, listen, you want to watch one of those sort of cheesy zombie films, like a really sort of like bad acting dubbing, and they go, oh yeah, I love them things. Watch this, because what will happen? They'll be into this false sense of security, watching it, thinking, oh, it is fun, and all of a sudden they think, actually, that's quite creepy. That's quite scary. The way she comes into that room, Sally comes, or when they're looking up the stairs, or when she's looking at him, looking for him in the air vent. You think,
because she's really scary looking, Sally. I think she's the scariest looking out of all of them, because I think it's where she's so skinny, and she's sort of like when she runs, she's like with that black dress, and she's like. Just like her movement, she looks really. I mean, she looks a lot older than what she is. If she's 14 or 15,
she'd only just turned 15. But bear in mind, as I said, she come from an operatic family, and she's, you know, she can do dancing, she can do like ballet and stuff. Physical movement, second nature to her by that point.
Right, the budget now. What's that? 1,105,000. No, that's more than that. No.
1,105,944,000 Italian lira.
No, it's got to be 1 million.
1 second. Mum?
Yeah.
How much was, say, 1 million lira?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh, that was worth.
Pound or something.
About £1. So Italian lira it's just like a tiny.
Right, well, it's 1.105.944.000 Italian lira. So I don't know what to.
You realise because you've already had you have to do it 1 point. You have to have it.
No, I've said it. I don't need to say it there. I've said it, so it's done. Anyway, yeah. So that was a little horror thing. I'm glad we've done this film, because it was like I haven't seen it for probably about 20 years, I think.
And when I watched it, because same here, I haven't watched it for a very long time. And it's one of those films that I've championed a lot. But again, it's not one I'd say to people going, I want to watch a horror film. I won't necessarily go, I'll go watch Demons 2. They specifically say, I want to have fun, I want to watch one of these sort of like just cheap scare horror films. So watch Demons 2. It's really funny, it's really bad, but in a good way. You know, it's one, it's sort of leans into it. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows what he's doing. And I remember years ago on IMDb, I done my top 10 horror list, which obviously I changed when we done our top 10 horror list, but this was actually on there. And I had little descriptions of things underneath, why I put films on there, why I stuck American Werewolf in London, why I put Evil Dead, why I put this. I say because of this. When I got to Demons 2, I just said, because sometimes you're sick of fine dining, you just want a kebab. And that's what it's like. It's like the kebab of film. Sometimes you just want something cheap and nasty. God, it's so bad for me, but it's so much fun. You know.
And it ends, and it's like, it's like beginning, middle and end. It's like, there's no sort of, and it continues on or anything like that. You know, it's just a little story. And loads of little stories going on. They'll basically
just all this unknown sort of music, apart from Smiths, wasn't it? Panic on the Streets of London. And otherwise it's just like someone's attacking and all of a sudden strobe lights start happening, which I think worked really well the first time they do it. 'Cause you know when the zombie, the demon looks at her, Sally, and you see from his point of view, Sally, and they've got the strobe flashing on her face. I thought, that's really good effect. But then when it cuts to her in the room, they've still got the strobe going. I thought, no, I would have switched it off. So it's only like from his point of view, it looks like the screen light flickering on her face, you know.
But it's all brilliant still. So anyway, so that was Demons 2. So what are you choosing for next week then, Charles?
Well, actually, you might have noticed, because we changed the format slightly, we've got our brand new intro and outro.
And you're off to America tomorrow.
I'm off to America, do a bit of research for a few films, including...
that's the reason you're going, isn't it?
Yeah, for a tax break. No, Okay, so what I was thinking, rather than wait a whole week, this Friday we can do a podcast based on someone's suggestion. At Tech Noir, check him out on YouTube. He pulled us up on one of our previous videos, After Hours, where he said, "What? Rosanna Arquette was excellent in The Executioner's Song. Brilliant biopic of the killer Gary Gilmore and Desperately Seeking Susan." So I thought, hold on, Executioner's Song, I haven't seen that. And I looked into it a bit, Tommy Lee Jones, who I'm a big fan of, and I thought, you know what, let's do a podcast on Executioner's Song and release it for Friday.
Cool.
Okay?
Cool. Okay.
And just for you, Tech Noir.
Yep.
Okay, so we hope you enjoy it. And yeah, so we'll see you on Friday.
All right, see you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.